Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, what would happen if your mobile phone killed you?
We are tonight's entertainment.
I would rather watch Beautician and the Beast.
People don't forget.
And here we go.
Made for movies.
Hey, what's up out there, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Made for Movies podcast. I am your host, Aaron Wolf. With me, as always, Eric Russo. What's up, my friend?
Not too much. We have an action-packed episode for everyone today. We're going to start off with some box office news. Then we'll do our top 5 stories of the week. Into the Wolf's Why Is This Happening news story of the week. Then we'll get some of your comments for the movie Mortal Kombat and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier that people wrote into us. And then at the very end, we are going to announce the contest winners from April's contest. Going to be an awesome episode. But on this day in history, it is May 3rd, Wolf. Do you know what happened on May 3rd?
I don't. What happened?
19 years ago, on this day, happy birthday to Spider-Man, the 2002 Sam Raimi movie starring Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire. Oh, yeah. Wow, happy birthday.
Is this an important movie to you, Wolf?
Of course. I don't think there's anybody who it's not, especially if you like comic books and superheroes. And just the way that this movie was done and who stars in it and how their performances go. And now, especially knowing that Leonardo DiCaprio was almost Spider-Man, I think it kind of just lofts it up as a pretty amazing. And it's very interesting that it did come out 2002 because it would be 20 years old if they had released it originally. A lot of people don't know this, but in the filming, they actually had a scene where he was going to spin a web in between the two twin towers in New York City. But that, unfortunately, because of 9/11, was not able to happen. So, happy birthday to Spider-Man. Very, very great film. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing with your life? Please go. But yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool day in history.
Yes, sir. Yeah, really important movie as far as the superhero genre, one of my favorite genres. I think this movie is what gave me so much hope for all superhero movies. When I saw it when I was 12 years old, I thought it was the greatest movie ever made. Has not aged particularly well, especially compared to the second one, but still a very fun movie with a fantastic villainous turn from William Dafoe. Very interested to see if this one ties back into Spider-Man Far From Home, but did want to give it a shout-out. This will be another thing we do weekly, shouting out birthdays for old classics for sure, and some infamously bad movies as well. Before we get into the top 5 news stories of the week, we are going to discuss Mortal Kombat at the box office. So, Mortal Kombat actually was first place again this week. It made a little over $6 million. Pretty heavy drop-off from last week's $23 million. Total now sits at $28 million. Keep in mind, the original 95 movie made about $23 million in its opening weekend 25 years ago. So not a huge opening, doing okay at the box office. Relatively a cheap movie to be made. It's a little over $70 million worldwide with a budget of $45. So eventually will most likely turn a profit. But
yeah, sounds like it's making money despite being pretty bad. But yeah, that's good to hear. Movies are, at least in theaters, people are going to see it and getting out there, getting their big bags of popcorn, whatever.
Yeah, and from a lot of the feedback I've been getting, a lot of people did enjoy this movie. So, not all hate all the way around, which is great. I'm happy that people are finding some enjoyment with it, which takes us into our top 5 stories of the week. Number 5 story, a lot of casting hopeful news for the next Mortal Kombat movie. Fan casting has made Ryan Reynolds Johnny Cage, and he actually did respond. He posted a little short video of himself as like a characterized version of Johnny Cage in the game. But Wolf, what do you think about Ryan Reynolds potentially joining the Mortal Kombat franchise?
I don't think I could be more excited of a potential rumor like this. If it really comes true, there's nothing that would stop me from seeing him play Johnny Cage, who's one of the best characters in the games and in the first Mortal Kombat movie. very underutilized in Mortal Kombat Annihilation after he was recast and killed in the first minute. But I love Ryan Reynolds. He's really spreading his wings across multiple businesses. So he took an opportunity with this one to shout out Mint, his cell phone company. So that would be unbelievable if he was Johnny Cage, and he's the right person, the right personality to do it. Maybe he's a little old at this point, but he could still get in pretty good shape, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say. I think that there's a slight possibility this happens, but I do think whoever they decide to go with for Johnny Cage, it's going to be someone relatively famous. I don't think they can cast an unknown in this role, especially considering pretty much everyone else in the movie is an unknown. It has to be someone somewhat recognizable. I think that he might be a little out of their budget, considering he's probably going to cost them, 15, 20 mil plus whatever else he'll probably take over control of the franchise if he were to come in like Deadpool, which, after
it might be better.
After seeing this movie, I think that might be the way to go, but we will keep an eye on this one and keep everybody updated. But that takes us into our number 4 story of the week. Green Lantern, the HBO Max TV series, has found one of its Green Lanterns, Finn Wittrock, who portrays, I forget the character, but he's in The Big Short, as well as American Horror Story. Will play Guy Gardner, one of the versions of the superhero, in the 10 one-hour episode miniseries on HBO Max. Wolf, how do you feel about this casting, and do you think a Green Lantern series will be worth watching on HBO Max?
Sure. As far as this actor goes, I only am familiar with him in The Big Short. I haven't seen American Horror Story or anything like that. He kind of seems like kind of a weirdo, but the Green Lantern could be anybody as long as you're worthy. That's kind of the story behind Green Lantern. So obviously, in some respects, they have found him worthy. And I'm pretty excited. I like most HBO shows. They're very rarely lacking in quality, so I'm expecting something decent. Hopefully the writing is good and the story is a lot better than the, unfortunately, Ryan Reynolds version movie of The Green Lantern, which was a terrible, terrible piece of trash. But it could be cool, and I'm looking forward to the series for sure. Yeah,
I agree with you. But I am a little worried now that we have HBO Max. HBO Times Warner is definitely in the position of content. I don't know. I've seen some HBO Max shows not being as good. So typically when HBO puts out a drama, it's like Rockstar, 100% guaranteed to be great. But I think we're going to start seeing so many shows that there will be some bad ones. We have this one coming out. We also have the Batman series, which most likely won't have Batman in it, which sounds like a recipe for disaster. HBO Max also has the Titans TV series, which is supposed to be pretty cool. So we'll see. I'm not a huge Green Lantern person. It's pretty heavy on the fantasy elements for me. I think that Ryan Reynolds movie really just kind of ruined any excitement I could have for a Green Lantern series, especially with how much CGI it most likely will feature. But at the same time, I do like this actor, and I think that it could be pretty cool. So,
yeah, I would recommend, if anybody is a fan of cartoons, to go and watch the old Justice League cartoon, because Green Lantern is actually a pretty good part of that, and he's voiced by Phil Lamar from Mad TV.
There you go.
And also in a lot of other speaking role in voiceover roles. So pretty good overall.
Nice. Any other thoughts on this? Or are we ready to move into topic number 3?
Number 3, let's do it.
The Tomorrow War. Chris Pratt starring sci-fi war alien movie is coming directly to Amazon July 2nd, as we have talked about. Just dropped its first trailer from director Chris McKay. Wolf, how'd you feel about this quick little teaser? And do you think this could break the curse of action movies to streaming being bad?
Yeah, well, time will tell. The thing I liked about this teaser is that it was less of a trailer, more of a short kind of clip. I think it was about 45 seconds. So they're not giving away too much, but they're letting you know what it's going to be about. So right away, we kind of know, all right, it's a war in the future and we're fighting aliens. All right, let's just call it right there. Keep it simple. I'll definitely watch this. Chris Pratt is great, so we'll definitely be looking forward to it. I think it could be pretty good.
Yeah, the director, he directed the Lego Batman movie, which I rather enjoyed. I don't know.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, that is a good movie. This also has Yvonne Strahovski from Dexter. Dexter's love interest in that show towards the end of the show. and then J.K. Simmons. So it's definitely got the recipe to be, a throwback to these 90 action movies that we like. I don't think I've ever seen Chris Pratt in anything and not liked him. So
Sure.
I think it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. I wish I could see it on a big screen, so maybe they will do some sort of release, just because I find watching action movies at home for the first time just never satisfy me, just like seeing it on a big screen. But
For sure.
moving into the top 2 news stories of the week, the second story comes from HBO Max. Taika Waititi will star as the pirate Blackbeard in the HBO Max original series Our Flag Means Death. He will be the executive producer as well as direct the pilot episode. Are you excited for your boy to show up on HBO Max? And how do you feel about him doing a pirate show?
I'm absolutely excited because I have a feeling it will be hilarious, even if it's unintended. He's great as an actor as well as a director, so to see him doing both, always going to bring a smile to your face. And again, HBO not putting out too much bad stuff. Again, like to your point, this is more content, a la Netflix. How they're just dumping stuff on us left and right. But with him at the helm, I foresee this to be pretty good. I don't see any way it could be bad. And I started watching the Pirates of the Caribbean movies just because I've been told you should if you're a fan of action films. So I quite like those. And anything pirates, I'm gonna look forward to. And I've heard Black Sails is also a very good show about pirates from Stars, I believe.
Yeah.
So that was a recommendation from TV Ron. Shout out to TV Ron. And I think I'll watch that as kind of a teaser for Blackbeard.
Nice.
Taika's Blackbeard. Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree. Huge Pirates of the Caribbean fan, especially the first one. I think it's both one of the best action movies ever and just a hilarious movie. The sequels definitely fall off a little bit, but if this is anything like those, with him, I'm expecting that sort of tone of kind of funny, but also hitting some serious notes along the way. He has yet to do anything that I have not liked, so I expect big things. I also agree he's a great actor, and I can already picture him playing a pirate in my mind just from having seen him as Adolf Hitler. I think that he'll pull some elements from that and definitely be very over the top. Maybe some Johnny Depp elements as well. But yeah, this should be incredible. He's got a huge slate coming up with this and Thor. So, man, he's got a big future ahead, that's for sure. But let's move into our top news story of the week. So, speaking of that actress from Dexter, Dexter is returning this fall from Showtime with a limited 10-episode miniseries to kind of serve as a new finale for the show. Just dropped its first teaser trailer. Wolf, are you excited that Dexter Morgan is back, and will this 10-episode series be able to redeem one of the worst finales in television history?
Yeah, Dexter's looking old. They should call him Harold Potter.
There you go.
Basically, they have a lot of people, especially listeners of the show, know our feelings about the end of Dexter, the original 8-season series. It ended horribly. I was never more disappointed with a finale in my entire life. Just didn't understand it. They have a lot of ground to make up. So my expectations are below the earth, very, very low. But, I mean, Dexter, just a compelling character overall. To see him back, see what he's kind of doing now, I'm intrigued. So I will definitely watch and give it a shot. But, again, they just have so much to make up for. I hope they get it right.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that it will, no question, be better than Season 8, for sure. I'm more excited that the showrunner from Seasons 1 through 4 is returning, because that's clearly when the show was considered one of the best TV shows ever made, and then it really falls off for Season 5. That's when he left. So the fact that he's returning, he always had a way he intended to end the show. He's kind of already put that out there. I won't spoil it for everyone, so I hope they come up with something new, considering he's put out his ending as far as what he would have done with the previous series. But I think it'll be interesting. Dexter's going to, I think, upstate New York for this, so the fact that it's going to be a new area for him to do some killing and he won't be a cop, I think will completely set this show apart from the previous show and hopefully end it with a bang. But you never know. You never know.
I like to see upstate New York get represented. Shout out to Broome County.
There you go. Yeah, maybe it'll be your hometown, right?
Yeah, right.
So we move into Wolf's favorite segment of the week, the Wolf's Why Is This Happening? I have to tell you, Wolf, I spent hours this morning, hours going through article after article, and most of the stuff was so uninteresting and bad I didn't even want to bring it to your attention. But we did find one story, Transformers back again, rebooted. There is one bright spot of this. Dominic Fishback has been cast. She is an Academy-nominated actress for her role in Judas and the Black Messiah, one of our favorite movies of the year. She will join Anthony Ramos in the latest Transformers take from Paramount, directed by the director of Creed, Stephen Caple Jr. Wolf, why is this happening?
Why is this happening indeed? It's the same argument we seem to have every single week with this category, is that they are just recycling as much stuff that has already been done to put out content without any ramifications or understanding that people are going to hate it and crap all over it and not be entertained one little bit. Now, this is a good casting to say one bright note of this is that she is awesome. She killed it in Judas, and that will be interesting. But if it's not Michael Bay and it's not 2001, who gives a crap is my question. So I will just say it right now. Why is this happening? Help me figure it out.
I'm going to surprise you on this. I think the first 3 Transformers movies are 3 of the worst action movies ever. The first one is watchable. I'll give people that. The second movie is one of the worst movies ever made. It's like 7 hours long. The third movie, same thing. I know there's the fourth movie with Mark Wahlberg, which I thought I was being pranked in the theater. I was like, and then I did hear that the Bumblebee movie, which I did not see, I did hear from a few friends that it was entertaining with John Cena. So I'm sure that was probably one of the better ones. But I mean, at this point, Transformers, there's so much source material and there's so much potential. If they do a good job and it has a good script and Michael Bay's not involved, I'll watch it. If it's supposed to be good, I'll watch it. But at this point, I don't trust them, with the previous 5 movies. But I'm hopeful that, I mean, it's incredible source material. I'm just not a huge fan. I think they should make it more realistic and maybe not have the robots cut and the Autobots cutting jokes and rapping and stuff like that. If we could get away from that and make it a little more Batman Begins, I'm all for it. But that's really all I have to say about it.
One of my favorite comments about those other movies, the Michael Bay Transformers, was that they were very surprised to see Optimus Prime have lips. Because he doesn't need them, number one, and like just to see these little things like I thought that was one of the funniest comments I've ever heard about that. Again, doesn't need to exist. We already have a whole slew of horrible movies. Why add another? Let's find a new idea.
It's funny, the Transformers movies remind me of the movie Small Soldiers. Like Optimus Prime is basically Archer from Small Soldiers. Even I'm pretty sure the same guy voices both characters. But if you're looking for a good movie, just go watch Small Soldiers with what's his name again? Tommy Lee Jones. There you go. But yeah, we will move on. I don't want you to get too seasick over there talking about pirates and Transformers and all sorts of stuff. But let's move into our new segment, Weekly Recommendations. So we were doing what we're watching, but the reality is we're not just watching things. We're reading, we're playing games, we're doing all sorts of things. So we want to give you the best recommendations that we can, sometimes not even from us, sometimes from other people. So, Wolf, what are your weekly recommendations?
I actually have 2. One of them, the first one would be a book. It's actually by one of my favorite authors, Malcolm Gladwell. He was a New York Times reporter for a long time, wrote a lot of good stuff. This one's called What the Dog Saw. It's just kind of a deep dive into why we perceive things in certain ways, and he kind of takes more of a scientific, more research-driven approach to figure stuff out. So I won't spoil any of the book for anybody, but you'll be interesting. Like an entire chapter about ketchups is, you would think that would be the most boring thing in the world, but it makes you really think. Like, why would this be important, but it really is. So What the Dog Saw, Malcolm Gladwell, pick it up on Audible or buy the book off of whatever site or store you want. The other recommendation actually comes from one of our listeners, Theo. I call him Theo West Coast, like Chanel West Coast, because he lives out there. So shout out to Theo West Coast. He actually recommended a movie I would have never watched in a billion years and I thought would have been terrible. Actually, from director Guy Ritchie, who's known for stuff like Snatch, Rock and Rolla, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., etc. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, starring Jude Law and Charlie Hunnam. Wasn't the best reviewed movie by all the critics, but I did give it a shot. I watched it. I actually found it to be quite entertaining. If you do like kind of fantasy, medieval type of stuff, it's another take on the legend of King Arthur, so not as bad as the Clive Owen version back in the day. I thought it was actually a lot better than that. So it's available now on HBO Max, so I would recommend it. If you're looking for a movie, go ahead and give it a shot. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised, because I certainly was, and that doesn't happen very often. I can usually spot a bad movie a mile away, which I thought I did with this one. But I gave it a shot, so go ahead and check it out.
Was it better than Robin Hood starring Jamie Foxx?
With the guy from Kingsman. What's his name? Taron Egerton plays.
Oh, that's right. That is him,
he's in there too. I didn't watch that one because of obvious reasons, but it was better than the Robin Hood with our boy from Gladiator, Russell Crowe. So
there you go.
I'll definitely check it out.
That's fair. Yeah, I only have one this week. It's one that I'm still in the process of watching, but so far, really enjoying it. Not something I typically would watch, but Young Rock on NBC. Started the first couple episodes, was recommended it by our buddies over at the Movie Mania Pod, Adam Tylenda. Really funny, really endearing series. The Rock is actually in the series, which I did not know. He's in so far every episode that I've watched, but just looks at his young life. Very funny, has a lot of young wrestlers portrayed but by actors that are really funny. So if you like the 80s wrestling, you'll definitely get a kick out of it. Andre the Giant is the highlight for me so far. But yeah, definitely worth a watch for sure.
Cool. That sounds fun.
So let's move on, Wolf, to fan comments. So every week we are asking everyone to send us your comments, questions, thoughts on what we're reviewing, or just anything in general. Keep in mind these can either be written to us by direct message or email at the madeformoviespodcast@gmail.com. Or if you really want to, you can send us an audio message and we will play it on the episode if it's appropriate enough anyway. So let's move in. Wolf, do you have any comments for
Yes,
that we're sending to
we
you?
certainly do. Shout out to Jeff D'Onofrio for writing in response to our Mortal Kombat review, as well as our Oscar recap. Jeff started Mortal Kombat, and he didn't end up finishing it. He said he turned it off after about 30 minutes. From all that he saw, he said he didn't think it could get any better. And he had a drunk friend of his actually recommend it at 11:30 at night when both of their wives were out having a girls' night. And he said, even with a beer in bed, I wouldn't have been able to make it through this one. So Jeff wasn't the biggest fan of Mortal Kombat. He was also very impressed with you, because you had watched many of the Oscar nominees' movies, and I had not. So he was very surprised that anyone would watch all of them. So you were pretty close to that. So shout out. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. I do this movie podcast, and I tend to like to watch movies. Wolf just hates certain types of movies, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you were busy watching King Arthur, Legend of the Sword.
Hey, man, check it out. HBO Max. It's with Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy.
I like Charlie Hunnam. I do like him.
It's unbelievable. His voice is Jax, and then to hear him as his actual British self in this, I was just like, oh man, that stinks. I wish he could just be Jax always.
Isn't he in Pacific Rim? Or am I thinking
he is
of
in
someone
Pacific Rim. He's also in another Guy Ritchie movie that just came out, The Gentleman. I don't know your thoughts on The Gentleman.
Not a huge fan. Like I said, I haven't really liked too many Guy Ritchie movies. He actually has that movie coming out, I think, next week, Wrath of Man with Jason Statham, which I will definitely watch. Hopefully that's good. We will be reviewing it, most likely on the podcast, provided it is not a steaming pile.
Any movie with Josh Hartnett gets my vote, so look out.
Yeah, I saw him pop up. I was like, that guy's alive?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen him since Lucky Number 11.
I thought you were going to say The Faculty real quick. That would have been funny.
That's like his first movie he ever did. So
he was great in it.
True story. And I love that movie. It's a great movie.
It is.
All right. So I do have a few comments. These are all related to I almost said something that I shouldn't have said, but Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Ooh.
So keep in mind, if you have not seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier and you do not want anything spoiled, some of these comments will get into spoiler territory. So probably a good time to turn this off. Come back later on. In that way, you don't have to beat the shit out of us for ruining the show for you. Our first comment we're going to read today is from Fernando on Instagram. Fernando writes in that he thinks the series is very interesting. He thought the story started a little slow, but really picks up in the middle once Zemo is introduced, especially the interaction between Zemo, Bucky, and Sam. Another character he really likes is Captain America John Walker. At first, he did not like him just because he did not think he was worthy of holding the shield. But after the death of Lamar, he started to really like the character because of his loyal nature to his friends. Thank you so much for writing in, Fernando. We really appreciate your comments. Wolf, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, really good insight on that because he is a very likable character after that, it seems like.
Yeah, I was a little worried when that happened with him obviously killing that person with the shield. I didn't have the initial reaction that a lot of people did, that this guy was just like super evil. I went more with he's super flawed, but at the same time, if someone killed you in front of me, I shouldn't be Captain America either. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with avenging your friend's death. Like I said, we saw it in Civil War with Robert Downey trying to avenge his parents' death. It just goes back to that old thing as far as who can actually wear the shield, who is worthy. Sam is worthy. John Walker is not, but I am looking forward to seeing him continue as U.S. agent.
For sure.
But let's move on. Another comment here from Better Call Paul _215, Paul Dixon. So Paul writes in and he breaks it down into 5 positives he loved about the show and 5 things he did not like. So his 5 things he loved, they used the number 1. They used the comic book accurate Sam Wilson Captain America suit, and it was fire. Number 2, the use of Isaiah Wilson and his impact on Sam deciding to maintain his hopefulness and try to turn a negative past into a positive step toward a better future was fantastic. Number 3, he really thought that they did a great job with John Walker, making him a clear bad guy, but showing how he could have been a hero had he made better choices and taken better actions. He really liked the whole "it's what you do that defines you" approach that they took with his character. Number 4, he thought Sam and Bucky were great together. And number 5, he really enjoyed the Sam becoming Captain America thing. Even though it was never in doubt and everyone knew it was going to happen, he really just enjoyed the journey that the character went on and felt that he was the clear-cut best choice to be the successor to Captain America, just based off the character development to this point in the other movies. So that brings us to the negatives from Paul. So number 1 negative, the message was convoluted, and it seemed like they couldn't decide what they wanted the show to be. They constantly contradicted themselves, which in his mind is just sloppy writing. Number 2, they completely contradicted the "it's what you do that defines you" angle by trying to make Carly a sympathetic character. The whole impact of her death was a huge misfire because she wasn't a sympathetic character. If you cared about Carly, in my opinion, you're a sociopath. Her character and John Walker were fundamentally no different, except in the end, at least he tried to right his wrongs a bit. Number 3, a few of the impactful moments, or moments that should have been impactful anyway, ended up being a bit over the top, dragged out, roll your eyes, dreck. Number 4, Sharon Carter as the power broker twist was anticlimactic and made no sense, and they will 100% misdirect it in the future. She was good all along, wink, wink. Number 5, and most importantly, so far the shows do not feel important or necessary to watch, just filler. Thank you so much for Paul writing in. That was a lot to break down, but Wolf, what do you have to say about this?
Wow. Very, very powerful insights, Paul. I love the little throw in of the Batman Begins. It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me. I love that, and I think you're spot on with the comment about Isaiah. It couldn't have had a better part in that show. I don't think than that explanation. So, I agree with a lot of what you said.
Yeah, I definitely agree with him on the Carly stuff. Not a character I really enjoyed at all. Very poorly written. Probably the worst part of the show. But, again, I really liked the show. I thought it was great. I do agree with him that it was very comic accurate as far as the Sam Captain America suit. Had some issues with it, like he just looked uncomfortable, like he couldn't move his head in it. But as far as the actual look, it is very, very close to what they did in the comics. So, again, it's the first time, too. He just got the suit. I mean, Chris Evans' suit changed 14 times. I'm sure we'll see variations of this, and hopefully the next one he's able to turn his head a little bit more without having to do the Batman turn your shoulders to move on. But thank you for those comments, Paul. Hopefully the shows are not as inconsequential as you feel they are right now, but we shall see with Loki what happens next. But let's move into our final comment of the day. This comes from Craig Hollamouther. So Craig writes in, they did a really great job with making the villains relatable. He thinks a lot of people would agree with the Flag Smashers' ideals of world unity, even if they don't agree with their methods. The relationship between Sam and Bucky was well done, and he likes how they grew throughout the series. The specific scene that he loved was the tossing of the shield scene. He thought it was one of the best scenes in the entire series, and a nice nod to the who will carry it debate. The entire Black History subplot was brilliant and so well done, he says. Specifically, Isaiah Bradley's story was a great addition and really played on our fear of how Sam would be treated if he took up the shield. He felt like Sharon Carter was a little shoehorned in, though she was still a great character. And seeing Zemo was an absolute highlight of the series. Thank you so much, Craig, for writing in. I couldn't agree more about Zemo. I thought he was clearly the highlight of the show. I also really loved the training sequence that you were referring to when they were throwing the shield. I thought that was the strongest scene involving Sam in the entire series, the entire part where he is training at home. But thank you so much again for writing in. Thanks for everyone that wrote in this week. If you want to be featured on the podcast again, just send us your comments and we will read the best ones every single Monday. But let's move into our final segment of the day. It is time to announce our contest winners for the month of April. If you guys remember, we asked you in order to enter this contest, all you had to do was subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. You could also just shared our post or written a comment or written us a review on Apple Podcasts as well. So you could have had up to 6 entrants for this contest. We had a ton of entrants. But Wolf, why don't you run it down for us? Who got 4th place in this contest and what did they win?
Yes, 4th place in our contest. Congratulations to Mara. Her Instagram is @meowkittypurr. 4th place winner is a $15 Fandango gift card to be used either at the movie theater or for some type of streaming. So congratulations to Mara for that one.
Who do we got for 3rd place?
3rd place, we actually just talked about him, Jeff D'Onofrio, @Taco D'Onofrio on Instagram. He won 3rd place. That is a $25 Fandango gift card. Congrats, Jeff.
Woo! And now we move into the top 2 spots. 2nd place, I believe they win a Made for Movies t-shirt as well as that Fandango $25 gift card. Who do we got as the winner for 2nd place?
That goes to Mr. Sam Lurchin, @sam.lurchin on Instagram. Congratulations, Sam. $25 and a Made for Movies t-shirt.
Awesome stuff. And now we move into the grand prize. Grand prize gets a $50 Fandango gift card, official Made for Movies t-shirt, and the awesome spot, guest hosting spot on a future episode of their choice. Who do we got as the winner of this contest?
Congratulations. Great comments on Falcon and the Winter Soldier to Paul Dixon, @BetterCallPaul_215 on Instagram. Look forward to having Paul on after those comments and many other comments that he has sent us over the last several weeks regarding our episodes. So yeah, look forward to that, and congratulations to Paul Dixon.
Now, I do know that in Paul's previous comments, he does like the movie Star Wars Episode 9. So, Paul, you are disqualified. You do not win. No, I'm just kidding. But no, we're looking forward to having you on. Congratulations to all the winners. This will be something that we're doing in the coming months, so keep an eye out for it. We will definitely message it out to everyone when we launch our next contest. You do not want to miss it. It's going to be even better than this one. Wolf, anything else?
That's it. Another beautiful Monday. We really appreciate you guys tuning in. Made for Movies Podcast. Again, check us out on all our socials at Made for Movies Podcast on Instagram. And, of course, our website, madeformovies.com. We still have a very limited number of Made for Movies merch, so check out that on our site. And other than that, that's it for me, man.
Yeah, and keep in mind this Thursday episode coming up, we're going to have our official review of the new Amazon movie Without Remorse starring Michael B. Jordan, as well as a couple surprise planned for the episode. So definitely want to tune in for that to check it out. But as I always say, bye.
See y'all.